Derek Hawthorne was the epitome of wealth and charm, a 35-year-old billionaire living in Manhattan's tallest penthouse, accustomed to the world bending around his whims. Today, however, nothing mattered more than perfection. Today was his wedding day. Everything had to be flawless. The orchestra, the flowers, the venue overlooking Central Park, and especially the planner he had hired months ago. An enigmatic, highly praised professional whose reputation for creating dream weddings was unmatched. Derek had ghosted him years ago. In a fleeting, passionate summer, they had shared nights of laughter, dreams, and a connection that had felt like destiny. But Derek had left without a word, too proud and terrified of vulnerability. Now standing at the top of the staircase in a crisp designer suit, he surveyed the ballroom glowing with gold and crystal chandeliers. He didn't know that the man orchestrating this day, the planner who made every rose petal, every table setting, every candle placement perfect, was none other than Malik Johnson, the very man Derek had abandoned years ago. Malik had arrived early that morning, calm, composed, and professional. No one at the venue knew the tension simmering beneath his polished demeanor. Every movement was precise, his eyes scanning the room like a hawk, yet his thoughts were elsewhere. On the betrayal, the ghosts of feelings never resolved, and the man who had hurt him and now stood oblivious at the altar's edge. Derek's bride, Vivienne Parker, was radiant in her lace gown, oblivious to the storm about to erupt. She smiled at her reflection in the mirror, certain that her life was about to become a fairy tale. But fate had other plans. As the guests began to arrive, whispers of excitement filled the air. Socialites, celebrities, and elite business magnates poured into the room. Every camera, every eye was on Derek and Vivienne, and every step of the wedding's unfolding drama was being orchestrated by Malik, the man Derek had left without a word, the man who had loved him quietly for years. When Malik glanced at Derek from across the room, a flicker of pain crossed his face. The memories of nights spent dreaming together, the warmth of his touch, the promises unspoken, they were all there. But Malik's mask remained intact, professionalism dominating his every action. Derek, meanwhile, felt a strange pull in his chest. Something in the planner's movements, the subtle way he adjusted the rose arrangements, the care in which he directed the staff, was unsettlingly familiar. A pang of unease, a whisper of memory tugged at him, though he quickly shook it off. Weddings required focus. Distractions could ruin everything, but destiny has a way of making distractions unavoidable. As the orchestra began to play and Vivienne descended the grand staircase, the ballroom lights reflecting like stars, Derek locked eyes with Malik for a brief moment. Time seemed to pause. Recognition flickered across Derek's face, but so did fear. The whispers of the past had returned, loud and demanding. If you want to see how Derek's realization unfolds, how Malik confronts his emotions, and the wedding begins to spiral, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. The soft strains of the orchestra filled the ballroom, each note perfectly timed, each melody crafted to enchant the hundreds of guests gathered for what was supposed to be a flawless celebration. Derek's gaze, however, was no longer on the descending bride. It was fixed, almost unwillingly, on Malik, moving through the room with calm authority. Derek's mind raced. The jawline, the way Malik carried himself, the sharp focus in his eyes, it was unmistakable. Memories flooded him like a tidal wave. The late-night walks along Brooklyn streets, whispered laughter in dimly lit cafes, hands brushing under starry skis, promises that never had the chance to be spoken aloud. He had left, thinking it was the only way to protect himself from feeling too much. And now here Malik was, orchestrating the life Derek thought he had built without him. Malik caught Derek's stare and froze for the fraction of a second that seemed like eternity. Recognition flashed in his own eyes, a mixture of hurt, anger, and longing. He had sworn never to show Derek that he had known all along how deeply he'd been abandoned. But the sight of him now, so polished, so untouchable yet vulnerable, cracked the veneer of professionalism he had maintained all morning. Derek's pulse quickened, sweat prickling at his temples. He tried to focus on Vivienne, on the grand staircase, on the glittering chandeliers, but his eyes betrayed him. Every step Malik took, every subtle gesture, brought a rush of memories he had tried to bury. He felt as if time had folded in on itself, forcing the past and present to collide in a single, devastating moment. Malik, meanwhile, moved with the grace and precision of a seasoned planner, but every smile directed at Derek. Every adjustment of the table settings was layered with personal conflict. He was supposed to remain invisible, a professional executing a perfect day, yet the man before him, Derek Hawthorne, had stirred something Malik had long thought dormant: desire, disappointment, and the ache of love unreciprocated. Vivienne finally reached the bottom of the staircase, her eyes sparkling, her smile radiant. Cameras flashed. Guests gasped. Derek's heart should have been soaring. Instead, it thumped erratically, his chest tight with a mixture of excitement, fear, and guilt. He had built this life, this empire, believing that material success could replace the love he had lost, but now he realized that nothing could fill that emptiness. The ceremony began. Derek's vows were memorized, carefully written to reflect his commitment and love to Vivienne, yet his voice wavered as he looked at Malik across the room. Each word felt like a betrayal, not only to Malik but to himself. Deep down, he knew that honesty had been postponed too long, and that this wedding, this facade of perfection, was built on sand. Malik's hands tightened slightly on the clipboard he held. His mind screamed at him to speak, to confront Derek, to remind him of the promises abandoned. But professionalism demanded silence. He could not ruin Vivienne's day, nor could he give in to the torrent of emotion swirling inside him. Every adjustment he made to the floral arrangements, every nod to the staff, was a mask. But his eyes, those impossibly deep, expressive eyes, told a story that no mask could conceal. As Derek recited his vows, Vivienne smiled, tears threatening to spill, unaware of the storm brewing in the room. Derek's words meant for her felt hollow. They were a script, rehearsed and polished, while his soul was screaming for truth. Malik's gaze met his, and in that fleeting connection, the weight of the years, the abandonment, and the love unspoken hit Derek like a freight train. The orchestral swell reached a crescendo, and for a heartbeat, time stopped. Derek realized the truth he had been avoiding. No amount of money, no perfect wedding, no social prestige could erase what he had done or the man he had left behind. And Malik, calm, poised, dignified, was proof of everything Derek had run from: honesty, integrity, and love that demanded recognition. By the time the ceremony concluded, Derek's mind was a whirlwind of emotion. Applause rang in his ears, but he barely heard it. Vivienne's joy, though sincere, felt distant. All he could see was Malik, moving through the crowd with quiet authority, every step a reminder of a love lost and a future uncertain. That evening, the after-party was a blur of champagne, laughter, and congratulations. Yet Derek could not escape the tension, the weight of choices made, and the reflection of the man he had ghosted so many years ago. Guests came and went. Socialites praised the luxurious decor, and photographers snapped images of a perfect celebration. But Derek felt a fracture beneath the surface of the glittering night, a crack that only Malik's presence could expose. By midnight, Derek excused himself, stepping onto the balcony overlooking Manhattan. The city sprawled below, lights twinkling like distant stars, but he felt darkness inside. His reflection in the glass behind him was a stark reminder of the life he had constructed at the expense of honesty. Malik appeared quietly behind him, not as the enemy, not as the planner, but as the man he had loved and abandoned. The silence between them was heavy, charged with emotion, memories, and regret. "You've changed," Malik said softly, voice low, careful not to draw attention. Derek swallowed, his throat dry. I've made a lot of mistakes, and some things don't forgive themselves so easily," Malik replied, eyes piercing but gentle. The city stretched endlessly below, but for the two men, the world had narrowed to a single, fragile moment, one that could either ignite devastation or the possibility of redemption. The glittering lights of the after-party reflected off the crystal chandeliers, but Derek's world felt muted, almost unreal. The laughter and clinking glasses of Manhattan's elite faded into the background as his mind replayed Malik's presence over and over. Every graceful step the planner had taken, every subtle glance, every command of the staff, it all carried the weight of their past. Vivienne approached him, radiant in her gown, a glass of champagne poised elegantly in her hand. "Derek, are you all right?" she asked, her voice gentle but probing. "You seem distant." Derek forced a smile, feeling the guilt twist in his chest. "I'm fine," he lied, though the words felt brittle. He could no longer pretend. The truth clawed at him, demanding release. He could not continue this charade without exposing the cracks that were already threatening to splinter his carefully constructed world. Vivienne tilted her head, sensing his inner turmoil. "You're hiding something," she said softly. "I can feel it. Is it the wedding or someone else?" Derek's pulse quickened. He knew that speaking would shatter the illusion of perfection, but remaining silent felt like suffocation. He had built an empire on control, yet in that moment, he realized control was an illusion. Malik's presence was a mirror reflecting the parts of himself he had abandoned. Vulnerability, honesty, and love he had feared to claim. Meanwhile, Malik lingered near the edge of the room, overseeing the staff and the final touches on the decorations. Every movement was meticulous, yet every glance at Derek burned with emotion. He had come to this wedding expecting professionalism, expecting distance, but his heart had betrayed him. The man he had loved years ago, the man who had abandoned him, now hovered on the brink of confession, guilt, and longing. Malik's hands tightened around a champagne flute, his knuckles white, as he silently wondered how long he could endure this masquerade without revealing the truth of his own heart. As Derek tried to engage with Vivienne, his mind wandered to Malik. He remembered the nights they had spent planning futures together, whispering promises in dimly lit rooms, dreaming of a love neither dared to claim. And now, those memories collided violently with reality. Derek realized that he had spent years building a life for everyone else, his family, society, the press, while neglecting the one love that had demanded only honesty and presence. Vivienne, sensing his distraction, moved closer. "Derek, talk to me. I need you to be honest." The words hit him like a thunderclap. Honesty. That had been the lesson he had evaded for years. And yet, revealing it now could destroy everything Vivienne believed in, everything he had built. Derek swallowed hard, voice tight. "Vivienne, there's something I need to tell you, something from the past." Her brow furrowed. "The past, what do you mean?" Before he could continue, Malik approached, moving like a shadow through the crowd. His presence was magnetic, undeniable. He stood behind Derek, calm but resolute, eyes locked on the billionaire he had once loved and forgiven silently. Derek's heart leapt and sank simultaneously. Malik's nearness was intoxicating and terrifying. He realized that his perfect wedding, the life he had meticulously planned, was teetering on the edge of collapse, not because of scandal or gossip, but because of truth long buried. Malik spoke softly, but the clarity of his voice cut through the room's chatter. "Derek, some things can't be ignored forever." Vivienne's eyes widened, confusion and fear mixing with curiosity. "Excuse me." Derek turned, the world narrowing to Malik's gaze. Every eye in the room now seemed to focus on them, yet Derek felt as if only the two of them existed. "Malik, I didn't expect to see you here," he stammered. "I know," Malik replied, calm, steady, yet carrying the weight of years of heartbreak. "But I couldn't stay away. Not when you're about to make a choice that isn't fully yours." The words hit Derek harder than he expected. "Not fully mine." He realized then that the wedding, the grandeur, the wealth, it had been about appearances, control, and avoidance. He had been running from his own heart for far too long. Vivienne, sensing the tension, stepped back. "Derek, who is he?" Derek's chest tightened. The lie he had been living, the life he had built, the empire of perfection, all threatened to crumble. He looked at Malik, and in that gaze, he saw honesty, courage, and love that had never wavered. He realized that if he continued down the path of lies, he would lose not only Malik forever, but also a piece of himself he could never reclaim. The room seemed to hold its breath. Guests whispered, sensing the shift in energy. Champagne flutes trembled in delicate hands. The orchestra's final notes lingered, almost mournful, echoing the fracture of perfection. Malik's eyes softened. "You can't hide from this anymore, Derek. Not from me, not from yourself." And in that moment, Derek understood. The facade had cracked. The perfect wedding, the life he had meticulously curated, was a stage that could no longer contain the truth. And for the first time, he felt both terrified and alive. The after-party's glamour dimmed in Derek's eyes. Crystal chandeliers reflected shards of his fractured conscience, each glimmer a reminder of choices made and love abandoned. Vivienne stood a few feet away, her smile now tentative, uncertainty clouding her otherwise radiant expression. "Derek," she began, her voice trembling, "I need the truth. Who is he? What's going on between you two?" Derek's jaw tightened. He had avoided this moment for years, building walls of wealth, prestige, and perfection. But they now crumbled under Malik's silent, piercing gaze. Every fiber of his being screamed to confess, to strip away the illusion of the perfect life he had created. But he feared the fallout, the destruction of everything Vivienne believed in. Malik stepped closer, just enough for Derek to feel the heat of his presence. His voice was steady but laced with an edge of controlled emotion. "Derek, you can't keep pretending. You owe yourself and me honesty." Vivienne's eyes darted between the two men, confusion and hurt colliding with curiosity. "You both? What? This isn't a game, Derek. I trusted you." "You do trust me," Derek interrupted, voice strained. "But I've been lying to myself for too long. I thought I could bury the past, that I could build a perfect life and erase everything I left behind. But I can't. Not anymore." Malik's gaze softened as he studied Derek. "I've forgiven. I've moved on in a way. But seeing you, knowing you're about to marry someone thinking your heart is fully yours, it's not. Not until you face what you left behind." Vivienne's hands trembled, clutching her champagne glass. "Are you saying there's something between you two?" Derek's throat tightened. Words failed him, yet the weight of years pressed him to speak. "Malik, he paused, struggling with a mixture of shame, longing, and fear. "I left. I thought it was right at the time. I thought I was protecting myself. But I never stopped thinking about you, about us." The room seemed to constrict around him. Guests whispered, sensing the charged tension. The orchestral music from earlier had long faded, replaced by murmurs of curiosity. Derek realized that the facade of wealth and perfection was meaningless against the force of truth and emotion now raging between him and Malik. Malik's hands, which had remained still all evening, finally twitched, an unconscious gesture betraying the torrent of feelings he had restrained. "And now?" he asked quietly, almost a whisper, yet it cut through Derek like a knife. "What are you going to do now?" Vivienne stepped back, her voice sharp, wounded. "Derek, you can't just... What is this? Are you telling me you've been in love with someone else all this time?" Derek flinched, but the words that had been imprisoned in his chest for years finally escaped. "Vivienne, this isn't about you, not entirely. I've been hiding from my truth, from the man who truly mattered to me, and I can't continue lying to everyone, especially not him." Malik's eyes shimmered, the mask of professionalism cracking further. Pain, longing, and a flicker of hope danced in his gaze. He had dreamt of this confrontation, dreaded it, and yet here it was, truth unmasked, raw and undeniable. Vivienne's face hardened. "So what happens now? Is this over between us? Was any of this ever real?" Derek's heart ached, torn between the life he had built and the love he had forsaken. He took a deep breath, realizing that pretense had gone as far as it could. "I don't know what happens next," he admitted, voice trembling. "But I do know this. I can't betray him or myself any longer. I owe him that much." Malik's lips pressed into a thin line, balancing between authority and vulnerability. "And what about the wedding? The life you've built? All of that can't matter if it's built on lies," Derek replied firmly. "I need to be honest, finally. I need to face what I left behind, and I need to make a choice I won't regret for the rest of my life." The room seemed to hold its breath. Guests murmured, sensing the collapse of the night's glamour. Derek and Malik stood mere feet apart, the weight of unspoken love and unresolved betrayal pressing down. Vivienne, glowing in her gown yet shaken, watched helplessly as Derek's world began to unravel, and as a future he hadn't dared to imagine stretched before him, both terrifying and thrilling. Malik's hand twitched again, almost reaching for Derek. Instead, he let it drop, maintaining a thin veil of control. "You have to decide, Derek, before it's too late, before you lose yourself completely." And in that charged silence, Derek understood that the moment had arrived. The illusion was over. The wedding, the wealth, the status, they meant nothing compared to the truth that had waited years to be acknowledged. For the first time, he felt the terrifying and exhilarating clarity of what his heart truly desired. The morning after the wedding, Manhattan glittered under a crisp winter sun, but inside Derek Hawthorne's penthouse, the air was heavy with tension. Derek sat by the floor-to-ceiling windows, staring out at the city below, the chaos of the night replaying in his mind. The champagne, the laughter, the whispers of socialites, All seemed distant now. What remained was the raw truth he could no longer ignore. His phone buzzed incessantly. Family group chats, concerned messages from his father, calls from his mother, demanding explanations for the abrupt cancellation of the ceremony, and social media notifications from the world watching his every move. Derek had spent years curating an image of perfection, wealth, control, prestige. But now that image threatened to crumble under the weight of reality. Before he could answer, Malik entered silently, carrying a folder of plans for post-wedding arrangements. His calm, precise presence contrasted sharply with Derek's inner turmoil. "You're here," Derek murmured, almost relieved, almost afraid. "I wouldn't leave," Malik said softly. "Not after last night. Not when you're finally ready to face the consequences of your choices." Derek's eyes flicked to him, the familiar ache in his chest now mixed with determination. "I can't keep running from you, from the truth, from my family. I have to face everything." Malik nodded, silent support in his gaze. "Then we do it together, but you have to be ready for the storm." The first call was from his mother, Evelyn Hawthorne, her voice sharp, brittle, and filled with indignation. "Derek, what on earth happened last night? The wedding, our reputation, you've thrown everything away." Derek inhaled deeply. "Mother, I need to tell you the truth. There's something I've hidden for years, and it's time you know." Evelyn's sigh trembled with fury and confusion. "Derek, whatever it is, you better explain it clearly now." He looked toward Malik, who gave a subtle nod of encouragement. Derek squared his shoulders. "Mother, I'm not marrying Vivienne. I can't marry her. Not because she isn't wonderful, but because I've been living a lie. I left someone years ago, someone who mattered more to me than I realized at the time, and I can't live pretending anymore." Evelyn's silence was suffocating, broken only by her cold, measured words. "Are you saying you've been in love with someone else while preparing to marry Vivienne? Derek, this is unbelievable." "It is," Derek admitted, "and I take full responsibility. But I can't change the past. I can only choose the truth now. I need to make things right for him and for myself." Malik stepped closer, the tension between the two men palpable. "I've waited a long time for honesty," he said quietly, "but I'm here now. Derek, are you ready to finally be honest with yourself?" Derek swallowed, the clarity of years of suppression breaking through. "Yes, I've waited too long. I've spent my life building walls to hide from love, from vulnerability, but no more. I choose truth, even if it costs me everything else." The social fallout came next. Derek's family called attorneys, managers, and publicists, all scrambling to manage what was quickly becoming Manhattan's most talked-about scandal. Social media erupted. News outlets, gossip blogs, and Twitter feeds speculated wildly about the billionaire's canceled wedding, the mysterious planner, and the shadow of a hidden romance. Every headline seemed designed to cut to the core of his carefully curated life. Derek ignored it all. All that mattered now was the man who had waited, the man who had never stopped loving him despite being abandoned. "I need you, Malik," Derek admitted, voice barely a whisper. "Not as a memory, not as a plan. I need you as my truth here and now." Malik studied him, eyes soft but guarded. "Are you ready for everything that comes with that truth? The world won't understand. Your family, the media, even friends. But if you're sure, I'm willing to take that risk with you." Derek nodded, resolve hardening. "I've never been more certain of anything. I can face the storm, I just need to face it with you." The two men stood in silence, the city sprawling below them like a glittering witness to the choices they were about to make. Outside, the world buzzed with speculation and anticipation. Inside, a different kind of anticipation stirred. A chance at love reclaimed, honesty embraced, and a future unshackled from pretense. Malik reached out, fingers brushing lightly against Derek. The simple touch, filled with unspoken forgiveness and renewed connection, ignited something neither had dared to feel for years. Derek took a deep breath, looking into Malik's eyes. The eyes that had haunted his dreams, the eyes that demanded truth, the eyes that mirrored his own longing. "I'm ready," Derek said. "Let's face it all together." The storm was coming, but for the first time in years, Derek didn't feel afraid. The following week, Manhattan was ablaze with whispers. The billionaire wedding that never was had become the talk of the city. Headlines splashed across every screen. Hawthorne wedding canceled. secret love revealed, and mysterious planner sparked scandal in Manhattan elite circles. Social media exploded, and even the tabloids speculated about the identity of the man who had stolen Derek's heart from behind the curtain of perfection. Derek sat at his sleek glass dining table staring at the morning papers, each headline cut sharper than a knife, yet he felt a curious sense of liberation. For years, he had lived in the shadows of appearances and expectations. Now, the truth was out, and for the first time, he didn't flinch. Malik entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. His presence was calm, grounded, the perfect contrast to the storm outside. He placed a cup in front of Derek and leaned casually against the counter. "You've become the city's most infamous honest man overnight," Malik said, a hint of amusement in his tone. Derek managed a small smile, though tension still clung to him. "Infamous maybe, but free. Definitely. I've spent so long running, so long hiding. Now I finally feel like myself." Malik's gaze softened. "Good, because the world can be loud, but love is louder. And ours, well, it's finally ours." The words sent a shiver down Derek's spine. He reached for Malik's hand, intertwining their fingers across the table. The touch was electric yet grounding, a reminder of the connection that had never truly faded. For Derek, it was a first step into a life unafraid of scrutiny or judgment. The next few days were a whirlwind of selective social appearances and controlled interviews. Derek's family had reluctantly accepted the reality. They could no longer fight the press frenzy. Friends and colleagues looked on with curiosity, some with support, others with thinly veiled skepticism. Yet Derek no longer cared. What mattered was not the opinion of the world, but the presence of the man who had waited patiently for him all these years. One evening, they attended a charity gala together, a calculated first public appearance as a couple. Cameras clicked incessantly as they entered, Malik impeccably dressed, Derek exuding the quiet confidence of a man who had embraced his truth. Reporters whispered, snapping photos, but neither man flinched. Together, they navigated the crowd, a unit forged in honesty and longing. Later, away from the crowd, in a quiet corner of the gala's rooftop garden, Derek looked out at the Manhattan skyline, the city lights reflecting their journey. "Do you ever think about how much simpler it would have been if I had just stayed honest years ago?" he asked softly, leaning into Malik's warmth. Malik chuckled, shaking his head. "You wouldn't have been Derek Hawthorne, billionaire extraordinaire. But yes, simpler maybe. Less painful, but also less meaningful. We wouldn't be here now." Derek's hand found Malik's cheek, fingers tracing the line of a jaw he had memorized in years of longing. "Here, now, it feels right. More right than anything I've ever done." Malik's lips curved into a smile, a mixture of relief, desire, and affection. "Then let's not waste any more time. No more hiding, no more ghosts. Just us, facing the world together." The night sky stretched endlessly above them, glittering with possibility. For Derek and Malik, every whisper, every glance, every headline was a testament to their courage. The courage to choose love over fear, truth over pretense. Their bond, forged in pain and longing, had finally emerged into the light, undeniable and unbreakable. As the gala ended, they walked side by side through the city streets, the world buzzing around them, but they moved as if in a private bubble. Derek leaned into Malik, feeling the weight of years lift from his shoulders. No longer haunted by past mistakes, no longer shackled by societal expectations, he felt alive, grounded, and ready for whatever challenges awaited. That night in the quiet of Derek's penthouse, they shared a private moment, an intimate, tender connection. Words were unnecessary. Every glance, every brush of a hand, every heartbeat spoke louder than anything the world could say. For the first time, they allowed themselves to fully embrace love in its raw, unguarded form. But as dawn approached, Derek knew the reality of their situation. Public scrutiny was relentless. Family expectations were still lingering shadows, and the world they had stepped into together was unforgiving. Yet, for the first time, he wasn't afraid to face it. With Malik at his side, every storm seemed manageable. Love had entered the spotlight, and neither man would let it fade again. The following weeks felt like walking a tightrope over a city ablaze. Derek and Malik moved through Manhattan, their presence everywhere, at exclusive charity events, high-profile dinners, and media interviews. Every appearance was scrutinized. Every smile, every glance was dissected by reporters and social media pundits. Gossip columns painted their love as scandalous, bold, or even reckless. Some friends congratulated them quietly. Others distanced themselves, uncomfortable with the audacity of a billionaire openly embracing love outside societal expectations. Derek, ever the image-conscious magnate, felt the tension more acutely than Malik. The Hawthorne legacy was built on perfection, control, and unflinching appearances. Derek had spent decades shaping a flawless public persona, yet now every headline threatened to fracture that carefully constructed image. One evening, they returned to Derek's penthouse after a particularly grueling gala. Malik placed his coat down and leaned against the doorway, watching Derek sift through a flood of notifications on his phone. Screenshots of gossip threads, opinionated tweets, and magazine spreads filled every social platform. "I hate this," Derek muttered, tossing his phone onto the coffee table. "I hate the world making a circus out of our lives. But worse, I hate feeling like I'm failing at something I finally have a chance to get right." Malik stepped closer, sliding his hand across Derek's shoulder, grounding him. "You're not failing. You're choosing truth over fear for the first time. And yes, the world is going to judge, but they can't dictate our hearts." Derek exhaled sharply, rubbing his temples. "It's not just the world, it's family too. My father, he's furious. He keeps calling, demanding I fix this, restore the Hawthorne reputation. And my mother, she doesn't speak to me without venom in her tone." Malik placed a gentle hand under Derek's chin, forcing him to meet his eyes. "Then let them rage. Let them fume. We know what's real, Derek. We know what matters. And if loving me makes you scandalous to them, then let it." The weight of Malik's words struck Derek like a lifeline. For so long, he had been a prisoner of expectation, of legacy, of appearances. Now, Malik's unwavering presence reminded him that love could be a rebellion and also a sanctuary. But the challenges were unrelenting. Invitations to business dinners came with veiled threats, whispered warnings about his improper behavior, and subtle insinuations that his credibility as a CEO might suffer. Derek realized that living openly meant sacrifices. Trust in colleagues, approval of family, and even some friendships would falter. Every victory in love came with public scrutiny, each one a test of courage. Yet amidst the chaos, their intimacy deepened. Malik and Derek began carving out moments of sanctuary, late-night walks through Central Park, quiet dinners in hidden bistros, and whispered conversations in the sanctuary of Derek's penthouse. The city roared outside, but inside their private moments, time seemed suspended, allowing them to explore tenderness, desire, and trust that had been delayed for far too long. One rainy evening, they sat on the balcony, the streets below shimmering with reflections of neon lights. Derek wrapped a blanket around both of them, resting his head on Malik's shoulder. "Do you ever wonder if all of this, everything, the heartbreak, the distance, was worth it just to get here?" Derek whispered. Malik's fingers tangled in Derek's hair. "Every moment, every tear, every second we waited led us here. It's not just love, it's survival, redemption, and choice all at once." Their eyes met, holding a silent understanding. The world could judge, criticize, and gossip, but they had chosen honesty over fear, love over pretense. That choice, though fraught with sacrifice, felt infinitely more powerful than any fortune Derek had amassed. Yet in the back of Derek's mind lingered the awareness that storms were far from over. Society's whispers were persistent. The Hawthorne legacy still demanded attention, and some friends had quietly begun to distance themselves, a subtle reminder that the path they had chosen would not be easy. Still in Malik's arms, Derek felt courage bloom. For the first time, he believed that love, raw, authentic, and defiant, could withstand any storm. Together, they would navigate scrutiny, sacrifice, and societal expectations. And together, they would define their own destiny. The rain tapped against the balcony glass, a gentle reminder that the world could rage, the city could roar, but their hearts, finally fully aligned, would not falter. It started as a whisper, a seemingly minor social media post questioning Derek's credibility as a businessman. But whispers in Manhattan travel fast, and by morning, it had exploded into a full-blown scandal. The headline screamed, "Billionaire Derek Hawthorne's private life threatens empire. Financial partners concerned." Photos of Derek and Malik hand in hand circulated with insinuating captions, fueling gossip and speculation. The city buzzed with shock, admiration, and condemnation all at once. Derek's office became a war zone. Calls flooded in from investors, board members, and advisors. Every email was a calculated probe into his decisions, every meeting a subtle interrogation. Derek realized that his personal truth, finally embraced, was now colliding violently with the public image he had spent a lifetime crafting. Malik stood silently behind him as Derek read through a particularly scathing article. "It's worse than I thought," Derek muttered, his knuckles white as he gripped the desk. "They're questioning every deal, every move I've made, just because I chose honesty over appearances." Malik placed a hand on his shoulder, grounding him. "Then we face it together. You've chosen truth before. You can do it again." But the storm was relentless. By evening, reporters had cornered Derek at a gala, shouting questions about his relationship and insinuating conflicts of interest in his business. Cameras flashed as Malik, standing by his side, kept a calm, steady presence. Yet the tension was palpable. One misstep could destroy more than just public perception. It could shatter trust, partnerships, and even their own confidence. Inside the penthouse later that night, Derek sank onto the sofa, exhaustion etched into his features. Malik sat beside him, brushing back his hair, their foreheads touching. "They're loud and they're persistent," Malik whispered, "but nothing they say changes what's real between us. Not for 1 second." Derek exhaled shakily. "I know, but every attack feels like it's cutting at everything I've built. And sometimes I wonder if it's worth it, if choosing love over control is really enough to survive in this world." Malik's eyes softened. "It's worth it because it's real, because we're real, and because whatever comes, we face it together. That's what makes us stronger than any scandal, any whisper, any judgment." Days later, the trial by fire escalated when a former business partner leaked selective private communications implying impropriety, fueling media frenzy. Derek's board demanded explanations. Malik, despite being outside the corporate world, became his anchor, researching, strategizing, and preparing Derek for the relentless scrutiny. Together, they spent sleepless nights reinforcing the narrative: honesty, transparency, and unwavering integrity. Amid the chaos, Derek and Malik discovered a profound intimacy that transcended headlines. In stolen moments, a quiet coffee at dawn, shared glances in boardroom windows, brief touches during press conferences, they reinforced their bond, reminding themselves that the world's judgment couldn't define their love. One night, after another grueling press event, Derek finally allowed himself to collapse against Malik. "I don't know how much longer I can survive this fire," he admitted, voice trembling. Malik held him tightly. "You're stronger than you think, and I'm here always. Every challenge, every storm, every headline, we face it together. Nothing can undo what we have." In that embrace, Derek understood the truth. Survival wasn't just about preserving an empire or controlling appearances. It was about courage, love, and loyalty in the face of relentless adversity. The world could judge, the city could whisper, and society could threaten their stability, but the fortress of their love was unassailable, forged in honesty, sacrifice, and shared resilience. As dawn broke over Manhattan, the skyline reflected not just a city alive with chaos, but two men standing united, unwavering and ready to face whatever the world would throw at them. They had survived the first trial by fire and emerged stronger, more committed, and more in love than ever. The city that never slept now seemed to conspire against Derek. Just as he and Malik had begun to breathe in the freedom of their truth, an anonymous exposé hit the tabloids. It detailed a shadowy financial scandal linked to Derek's early career, a time when Malik wasn't in the picture, and Derek's ambition had blinded him to consequences. Though mostly innocuous and long resolved, the story was framed as a moral failing, a betrayal of public trust, and more disturbingly, it hinted at a secret relationship Derek had kept hidden, one that implied impropriety and favoritism toward Malik. Derek read the article in silence, his jaw tight, heart hammering. Malik leaned over, reading the same lines, his expression unreadable. "This isn't just business," Malik said quietly. "They're trying to weaponize our past, our history, and us." Derek's mind raced. For a moment, he considered retreating, hiding, reverting to the life of control and invisibility he had mastered. But Malik's steady gaze reminded him of everything at stake: the love, the honesty, the courage to live unashamed. "That's the thing," Derek whispered, voice low. "I can't run anymore. Not from them, not from the truth, not from us. But what if this breaks everything? My family, my business, you and me." Malik reached out, cupping Derek's face, thumb brushing his cheek in a silent promise. "Then we face it, together. If we crumble as one. But if we stand, nothing in the world can touch what we have." The next day, Derek's father, Robert Hawthorne, summoned him to the family estate. The confrontation was tense, each word like a scalpel cutting into Derek's carefully reconstructed self. "You've thrown everything away," Robert said, his voice cold, precise, filled with disappointment. "Your reputation, our legacy, and now this scandal. People will never trust you again." Derek squared his shoulders. "I've chosen honesty, Father. I've chosen love. If that comes at a cost, then I accept it. I won't go back to pretending." Robert's gaze softened for a fraction of a second, but the weight of tradition and expectation remained. "You think love is enough? The world doesn't work that way, Derek. Power, respect, control, they matter more than your feelings." "Not to me," Derek replied firmly. "Not anymore. What matters is truth. What matters is Malik and the life I finally want to live with him, openly and without fear." That evening, Derek returned to Malik, the tension of the day lingering like a storm cloud. Malik wrapped him in an embrace, steady and unwavering. "You faced them," Malik said, voice warm but firm. "And you didn't flinch. That's more courage than most can muster in a lifetime." Derek exhaled, feeling both relief and the sting of reality. "But this scandal, it's just the beginning. I can feel the ripple effect, business partners, media, even old friends. And I have no idea how far they'll push it." Malik held him tighter. "Then we push back, together. No lies, no fear. Every secret they try to weaponize, every whisper they spin into a threat, we counter it with truth. And if they try to break us, they'll fail." In the quiet of the penthouse, surrounded by the glowing city, Derek realized something profound. The trial by fire had only just begun. Love, honesty, and courage would be tested, not by whispers and judgments alone, but by shadows of the past that threatened to destabilize everything he had finally embraced. Yet with Malik at his side, he felt ready to confront the revelations, the betrayals, and the consequences that lay ahead. And as they held each other, the first real smile of defiance and hope broke across Derek's face. No storm, no secret, no societal expectation could sever what had been forged through years of longing, mistakes, and survival. Their love had survived secrecy, scandal, and public scrutiny. It could survive anything. The Manhattan skyline blazed under the winter sun as Derek and Malik prepared for their most daring move yet. A live televised interview that could either solidify their love in the public eye or shatter everything Derek had built. The studio buzzed with reporters, cameras, and lights, each detail meticulously calculated to leave no room for missteps. Derek adjusted his tie, exhaling sharply. "I can't believe we're doing this," he murmured. Malik placed a hand over his, grounding him. "Because it matters, because truth matters, and because we're finally done hiding." The broadcast went live. The host, poised and polished, opened with a subtle jab. "Mr. Hawthorne, the city has been abuzz with speculation. Can you explain the recent controversies surrounding your business decisions and your personal life?" Derek inhaled deeply, the weight of every whisper, every scandal, every judgment pressing down on him. Then he looked at Malik steadfast, unwavering, the anchor of his soul, and felt courage surge. "Yes," Derek began, voice steady, resonant. "There's been a lot said about my life, my choices, and my love. I won't lie, I've made mistakes. I've lived in shadows of expectation and I've hidden the truth for too long. But hiding only prolongs fear. Today, I'm not hiding anymore." Malik reached out, taking Derek's hand in a public display that drew the camera's focus. "This man," Malik said, voice clear and unwavering, "has my heart, and I have his. We are proud to be together, openly, honestly, and without fear." The studio fell silent for a moment, the tension palpable, the world watching. Derek felt the liberation in that moment, not just for himself, but for every hidden love, every unspoken truth that had ever been silenced by fear. Questions came fast, about business, family, and the social fallout, but Derek and Malik navigated each one with transparency, humility, and conviction. Every answer, every glance, every touch spoke louder than the headlines ever could. They weren't just defending themselves, they were defining a future on their own terms. Later, outside the studio, Derek exhaled, relief and triumph mingling. Malik smiled, brushing a strand of hair from Derek's face. "You did it. We did it together." Derek leaned into him, the city lights reflecting their victory. "I never thought truth could feel this powerful. I never thought love could feel this fearless." Malik chuckled softly. "Then let's promise never to hide again, no matter what storms come." Derek grinned, tugging Malik close. "No more hiding, only us, only truth, only love." And in that city of endless scrutiny, Derek and Malik finally stood unshaken, their bond unbreakable, their love undeniable. The trials, the scandals, the whispers, they were just background noise to a story far greater, a story of courage, devotion, and the triumph of love over fear. Sparkles, if you loved this journey with Derek and Malik, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to catch the next chapter of their story. Every story deserves a heart that listens. Don't miss what's coming next.